You know, the more things that I read and watch and listen to, the more connections I see between all these things. How some writers influenced other writers, or how some musicians influenced other musicians, or some filmmakers influenced other filmmakers who then influenced others. And while I was watching the series, The Mandalorian, I saw some direct connections to other cinema that I've seen. This is the Kazdoy Closet. I'm Kazdoy. That's the closet full of all the stuff that I love. And today I want to talk about The Mandalorian and its connection to Japanese cinema. So I'm watching The Mandalorian. It's season 1, episode 4. It's called Sanctuary. And this one is about the Mandalorian helps a person get this farming village protected from some raiders that are trying to invade the village. And so I'm thinking, boy, this sounds exactly like Seven Samurai to me. And that's the classic 1954 film by the great Akira Kurosawa, one of my favorite directors. And a similar plot. There is a farming village. Bandits are invading the village every time it's harvest time. So they're stealing the rice from the farmers, and that's their only means of survival, really. And so they can't fight the bandits off themselves. So the farmers go to the city, and they try to find some samurai who will fight off the bandits for them. So then I'm watching it, and I'm thinking, boy, there's a lot of connections between The Mandalorian and Seven Samurai. For example, the samurai in this film are known as Ronin. Ronin are basically don't belong to any kind of clan. They don't have a master. They sort of roam around on their own. They're loners. And similarly, the Mandalorian, he's on his own. He's roaming, looking for others of his kind. Another obvious connection between the two is the samurai swords used in Seven Samurai and the lightsabers used in The Mandalorian and, of course, all the Star Wars films. And then, this is a bit of a stretch, but I think it's still valid. There's a character in Seven Samurai called the Old Man. And whenever they need some advice, the farmers go to the Old Man and ask him for advice. And I think that might be a direct connection to Yoda, who was also the wise one in the Star Wars films. It's a recognized masterpiece. One of the highlights is the second half of the battle scenes, and done with all in freezing rain, with horses and people on horseback with swinging their samurai swords, and rain and mud, and it's just amazing. And no CGI. It's 1954. Of course, The Mandalorian you can digest in basically 30-minute episodes. This one you're in for 3.5 hours. Another really great feature of Seven Samurai, among many, is the star Toshiro Mifune, who went on to star in many other Kurosawa films, and his physicality and his energy is just amazing to watch. I watched this with my son, who's 22 years old. He's a Mandalorian fan, and I wasn't sure how he'd react to it, but he said 9.5 out of 10 stars. So I was kind of surprised and pleasantly surprised at that. So I thought, all right, great. So now I have my next YouTube episode. I'm going to talk about The Mandalorian and how it relates to Seven Samurai. But then I listened to a podcast, and one of the hosts on the podcast said he said he hadn't seen The Mandalorian, but that he heard it was a direct borrow from Lone Wolf and Cub. Now, I had heard of Lone Wolf and Cub. I had never seen it, so I looked into it. Basically, it's a film series from the 70s. There's 6 films in the series. It's based on a manga series, and it's about a Ronin, again, a samurai, who is falsely accused of killing his wife. So he is disgraced in a way, and he thinks he's resigned to follow this demon path. So he wanders the countryside with his son, who's about 3 or 4. That's the cub of Lone Wolf and Cub. And he is basically an assassin for hire. So he pushes the son along through the countryside and into the different villages in a cart, like a baby carriage, it looks like. And there's your baby Yoda right there. So yeah, I could see how that is a comparison to the Mandalorian, where you have the Ronin on his own, and then you have the baby in the cart. I watched the first 2 of the 6 films. They're very entertaining. I don't own them, but I do have the streaming service, the Criterion channel, and they're all on there. So as far as The Mandalorian goes, you know, I enjoyed it. I'm not that dumb that I'm going to sit here and hate on The Mandalorian. I'm not a big Star Wars fan, but I found Mandalorian very entertaining. And again, I just noticed that basically while I'm watching it, I'm thinking, this is a Western. And similarly, you know, when Gene Roddenberry developed Star Trek, the series, he called it Wagon Train to the Stars. Wagon Train was an old Western TV series. So all these things have connections. In fact, take a look at John Ford. And I talked about him when I did the episode on The Searchers. He was a direct influence on Akira Kurosawa. And then Kurosawa's film, Seven Samurai, was remade in the American version, Magnificent Seven, directed by John Sturges. Right? Then Kurosawa had a few other samurai films, and Yojimbo and Sanjuro kind of go together, and those were directly influenced or were influential on Sergio Leone, who then made Fistful of Dollars with the Clint Eastwood character, the man with no name, and followed up by, of course, For a Few Dollars More and The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. And these are all really good films, but one kind of leads to another. And then Leone influences Tarantino. And then in turn, Tarantino, if you watch something like Kill Bill, you can see the samurai film influence in Kill Bill also. And then Leone also, you see a lot of his technique in The Mandalorian as well. So all these things have kind of come together. So I guess the point of this video is, you know, a lot of people are really into The Mandalorian now, and it's fine. It's a good piece of entertainment. But I think if you didn't know, you know, you might want to check out what influenced it, and you might find yourself enjoying some of these other works as well, like the works of Akira Kurosawa and Sergio Leone and so forth. So I hope you like this video. Leave a comment if you'd like to, maybe something I forgot about or forgot to mention. Leave a thumbs up, don't leave a thumbs down, and a subscribe would be great. Otherwise, thank you for watching, and I will see you next time.